Okay, so here's my my Beckman Industrial DM25. Man, I've had this for many years. It's made me a lot of money during my tech years. Okay, I'm plugging in the power supply, and like I said, I want to make sure that the red is the positive and the black is negative, because you never know. So we'll wait till the light. I don't know if y'all can see that the light came on, and I do have this set to DC and 20 volts DC, and now I just need to plug in my leads here. Plug that one in there, plug that one in there, and there it is. 12.440. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and unplug this. I'll solder the wires. I'll double check to make sure that I got them right. By the way, this, again, I got this pin configuration from the guy online, but then when I took the unit apart, I looked, and it has a red wire and a black wire going to that 4-pin XLR in the back. And sure enough, number 4 was the positive pin and pin 1 was the ground. So let's do that right now. Let me disconnect this. Alrighty, and let's see. Let me try to start with that one. That's going to be number 1 is ground. So let's do that first. Alright, so let's try this. Put a little bit of solder on here. Let's see if I can. I know it's kind of hard to get everything situated where you guys can see what I'm doing. Right there, that's done. Again, you got to be real careful, man, because it's pretty hot. And now clean. Add some more solder on here. Alrighty. So kind of just check your work, and pin 4 is positive, and you know what, I'm going to redo the ground. The ground kind of didn't come out very good. I just don't like the way it's sitting in there, so I'm just going to redo it real quick. All right, I kind of pushed it in a little bit more, so that should work. All right, so now, moment of truth. And now the way this goes in is this guy gets shoved in just like this. This guy gets shoved in here. Let's see, how does this go? And hopefully it comes out all the way to the end there. And now you just screw this guy in right here. And there it is. Okay. All right. Now, remember the power supply that's in this unit over here. Let me grab the unit. The AC power supply that's in there is not working. And now I'm just going to do the DC. So I'm going to plug this in right here. Okay, plug it in. And now I'm going to plug in this guy. Hopefully I did it right. And there it is. Lights are on. The screen came up. You can choose. So it's pretty cool because as I say, someone had their head out of their butt when they designed this and gave you two ways to power this up. Just in case the AC to DC switch mode power supply that's inside goes out, like what happened here, then you can have an external one and still go, which is pretty darn cool. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'll do is I'm going to remove the other power supply, and it still works. Like when I was at school, I had a much bigger power supply than this, a big old 12-volt power supply we used to use to repair car radios there at the school with the students. And I just kind of, with alligator clips, I clipped that into the inside of the unit and turned it on, and I didn't have the switch mode power supply. I had to disconnect it. So it'll work either with the bad internal power supply plugged in or not plugged in. This basically bypasses it. So, all right, I'll be back when I start taking apart the back to get the power supply out. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this and remove the power supply, and then I'll test it. So these guys, I've already removed these a couple of times, but you take a screwdriver, you put it underneath here, and I can probably do it with my fingernail because they've already been taken off so many times. And they're just double-sided taped on there. And so that's it. That's one. I'm going to try and put them right, the next one up here. I'm going to try and put them in the way they came off. I figured that out the other day. So anyway, because they leave some gummy stuff behind and stuff, so. Could I double tape it back? Sure. But I don't know, this is just my OCD kicking in. All right, and then there's a screw here, screw there, and now there's another screw behind here. These two also, the first time you do have to remove these with a screwdriver, and these are pretty stiff. This is like some pretty stiff plastic here. Let me put that there. Excuse me. All right, get that off. Put those aside. So these two screws you don't need to remove because they hold this side to this. So it's just these two right here, these two, these down here, these two up here, and then these four up there. And I have this Tecton. God, I think I bought this on Amazon. And it's security bits, it's all kinds of bits. Let me show you. Excuse me, these are the really tiny security bits right here. These are a little bit bigger here. And then this is all going into the Torx, and then hex, screwdrivers, and stuff. So, really nice set. Tecton, I believe I got this off of Amazon several years ago. By the way, not a sponsor, right? Okay, so let's do that. Let's do this one. Oh. Yeah, you don't want to drop stuff. All right, get this one off. By the way, all the screws are pretty much, for the exception of these two right here, they're all the same. Same length, same. And I should get my Milwaukee little drill that I used to use when I was repairing home and car audio, but it's upstairs and I just didn't get it. So just have to do it by hand. That done. Off of there. This off of here. All right, so now this thing should just lift up. Now you got to be careful because the fan over here, the fan is connected. So don't jerk it because then you're going to ruin the fan and it's just not going to be a very good day for you. All right, so it comes undone with this little guy. Here's the power supply. So there's this red and black one. This one goes to these guys right here. If I'm not mistaken, let me see. Yeah, go to this guy. Oop, you can't see it. Go to this guy. Again, you couldn't see it. It goes to the external DC power supply. All right. So these guys right here go to the external, and this one is the actual AC coming in off the wall, this black one. And, excuse me, so online what the guy does is he removes this screw. There's a screw over here, and then one back in here and one back in here, and then all these four right here. And this whole thing kind of goes up that way. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I figured out that you can just get this, you can just undo these guys here. Let me do that. Now, switch mode power supplies are, man, there's a lot of stuff happening in in switch mode power supplies. In a nutshell, you have AC coming in off the wall, goes through a bridge rectifier, and then if I'm not mistaken, it goes through a transformer, and then there's a to up the voltage, and then they have a capacitor right there. okay? And then that DC goes into another section that pulsates the DC into another transformer. All right, so it goes AC to DC, and then back, if I'm saying back to AC, well, it's a form of AC. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So power supply's here, and you kind of just can pick it up like this. Now, I did this. I'm going to unplug this. That's the AC coming in. And let me unplug that guy. And I think what I did is I pulled this over here. And we can test it outside over here. Like so. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, and then we'll, actually, you know what, let me do this. Let's test it first, just like this, with the power supply being out. Let me move this up here over here because I'm kind of off the, right. I'll plug it in, and I'm going to measure the voltage over here, and you're going to see that it's giving me should be giving me about 12 point something volts. So let's do that. Let me go ahead and plug this in. Leave this. Let's see. I'll put this right here. That way everybody can see that. And I want to say black is over here, red is there, positive, negative. You know what, I can use this guy because these are universal. And so here goes. And I'll turn this on. And so I'm sure y'all can see that how it's fluctuating. It should not be fluctuating. And it's clicking. Click, 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 click. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to plug it back in to the gear, right, to the circuit. And I want to say this is going to go down to like 3 or 4 volts, something like that. So I'm going to unplug it. Now, as I was saying before, these power supplies are very sophisticated. So they're taking AC, all right, then they're going through a DC bridge rectifier. They're rectifying it to DC. Then they're going through another transformer. Let me see if I'll show you guys. Let me unplug it, because it's very interesting the way they do this. But AC comes in here. This is a fusible link right in there. This long guy right here. Let me get this long guy right here. That's a bridge rectifier. This is a capacitor. On the power supplies that I repaired for the monitors in my classroom, this guy was the one who went out. Now the output is over here, and I tested all these guys on this power supply and on the power supplies to my monitors, and these all tested really good. I mean, they were not on the low scale of their microfarads, okay, of whatever the capacitance was. So I don't know. I feel that even though I think this guy's testing good, I want to say it's still bad. Now there's 2 that I didn't test that are way in here. I'll have to test these guys. But anyway, so AC comes in, turns to DC, they up the DC, then they switch it into this guy right here, this transformer, right? At a high DC voltage, they're turning on and off, on and off. Then it goes through a step down right? This is a step down transformer. And then on this side of the transformer, I want to say this is a rectifier right here. It's hard to see. My lighting's real bad here. Then it rectifies it back to 12 volts or whatever. And these are just filter caps that are filtering out any AC, any AC type of ripple and stuff. So in a nutshell, that's a pulse width, or I'm sorry, a SMPT switch mode power supply. Now there are some circuits underneath that help run this. One is called a power factor circuit, and the other two circuits are for the switching. Okay, so I don't know. I'm going on a limb. I'll pull this out eventually, and we'll test it again, and I'll show you guys what I read, and then I'll compare it to the new ones, and hopefully if I'm right, this is the guy that's bad. Okay, this whole power supply costs $66. Okay, I found it on Amazon for $66.99 or something like that, plus shipping, tax, all that. I don't know. It's going to be like $79, $80 something. But what I decided to do was go this way. Go this way. Why? Because total cost for this, including shipping and taxes, was $32. Okay. Will the unit still work? Yep, sure will. It's still gonna work. Okay. But I don't know. I just got a weird hunch. Hey, if I buy I think the capacitor, I bought two different capacitors. One was $2 and $2.60. The other one was $4 from a company called Mosier. They're not a sponsor. So they're really not expensive. It's a shame that just people aren't repairing these. Now, I did put on here bad 2023. I did put on there. If I do fix it, I'm gonna have to scratch that out. So anyway, if the capacitor does fix it, then I'm just gonna scratch that out. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you that you don't even have to have this plugged in. You can just leave this like that, and this unit's still gonna work. So let me show you that real quick. All right. And then of course I'm gonna have to wait until I get I'll have to wait until I get this guy to test it. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to test it here in a second. I need to test this, plug it in, and show you that the voltage does drop. So, but anyway, let me just do this real quick. Let me turn this on. Let me just do this. I'll put this like this because it'll still work even though the fan's not on. See, make sure nothing's shorting out over here. Oh, wait, what is this? Okay, so let me go ahead and plug this in. Oh, it's way over here. And I'll plug it in. And it lights up. It works. So really, you don't even have to have this guy in. So that's the cool thing about this is, whoever had, it's like I told my students, because I took it to school and I was showing some of the students, like someone who designed this really had their head out of their butt when they designed this. So if this goes bad, you just plug in the back DC and you're up and running. So until you get a new one of these guys. So, all right. So everybody got to see that. Let me go ahead and disconnect this. Get this out of the way. Now let's go ahead and do this guy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and plug this guy in here. Hopefully not short anything out. Yeah, that would not be good. By the way, these guys have a little lip on one side, and they always go towards the plastic. Likewise, this one down here has one right here. It's got a lip on it, and they always go towards the plastic part that sticks up. That's what holds it in, okay? All right, let me see, that goes there. No, I could probably just test it in there. Let me put on my glasses here real quick. Okay, I'll have to figure out how I'm going to test this. Yeah, all right. There's that. There's that. Okay. Oh, okay, I'll just plug in this way right here. All right, let me grab my other leads. Hopefully we can see this. This should be okay right here since it's not going to be, it's made out of plastic, so it's not going to be hurting anything. Okay. Plug this guy in. Turn that on. Hope everybody can see that. Oh yeah, cool. And so all I'm going to do is, once the unit's on, is I'm just going to plug in to the positive here and the negative, and you'll get to see that. We'll get to see that the voltage is definitely dropping. So let me do that real quick. Okay, everything's all right. Let me plug it in. Alrighty, so now I'm going to just do this number. So you see it's only up to 7 volts. So something's going on. And I'm hearing a clicking. Click, 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 click. All right, so I'll be very honest. I am not, have never been trained on repairing switch mode power supplies. I've watched some guys online. Have pretty much learned some switch mode power supplies do have diodes at the output, meaning they'll have a diode over here to the output of the DC. And for the most part, there's a lot of guys online that are repairing those, and the first thing they tell you is check the diode. Well, guess what? This one doesn't have a diode. Okay. Well, at least I don't think so. Right. I'll be very honest. The one chip that or the one transistor that to me looks like a transistor that I have not checked is this guy right here. And I can't see it. I'd have to remove this guy, this whole thing out. I'd have to unsolder it to remove it to see what, you know, what number it has on it, then look it up online and then see what it is. I want to say this guy is a diode. This is this guy right here I think is a diode, I think. God, it's so hard to see the number on there. So anyway, bottom line is, you know, if I'm out $2 and it doesn't work, I'm only out $2. I'm not going to troubleshoot this anymore after that. You know, these are fairly complicated, and this is, you know, probably the second power supply, switch mode power supply that I've worked on. The ones at the school, like I said, this guy, the ones at the school, it was a much bigger power supply because it was a 24 volt output DC, had a much bigger capacitor and stuff, and this is the guy that was bad, and it was clicking the same way this one is. So anyway, all right, so I'll stop there. I'm going to put this unit back together. I'm going to hang on to that, and whenever I get the power supply, the capacitors, what's today? Today's May 27th, 2023. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So did order those parts this morning. I'll probably get them, I don't know, by Wednesday or Thursday next week. Hopefully I'll be able to put this all back together, and it should work. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys then.